So absolutely nobody's surprised, the Online Safety Act is spreading its tendrils across the entertainment industry. We're living in very uncertain times currently, but if there's anything that we can be sure of, it's that authoritarians will stop at absolutely nothing until they've controlled every waking moment of your life. Spotify, YouTube, Xbox, and many more are following in the footsteps of the UK, Australia, Canada, and even America are looking to implement something similar. This, stop me if you've heard this one before, isn't about kids, because there's plenty of reasonable people that don't just want to hand over their biometric data. But oh, won't somebody please think of the children, and God forbid you have anything negative to say about these new rules and regulations, because then you'll be lumped in with the worst type of people you can imagine. So once again, it's authoritarians and private businesses using kids to shield themselves from legit criticism. Meanwhile, governments around the world are in collaboration with big tech to harvest all your data, storing it behind our backs and turning around and calling anybody that doesn't comply with it a degenerate that just doesn't care about child safety. I know they claim not to store your private information, but even putting all the previous data breaches aside, do you really trust a third-party private company with your data? Do you really trust Spotify, Microsoft, the government with your home address and biometric data? Like, no, I don't think many people would if you actually explain it to them. Now, I want to talk a bit more about Spotify and the music industry and how this will specifically affect small, upcoming, aspiring artists. Because from the perspective of a smaller musician, you already have to compete with playlists full of AI music, you get paid peanuts, you get treated like shit. Spotify especially has made bafflingly stupid business decisions over the last 10 years, namely the push for podcasts. They've invested millions into podcasting, deprioritizing musicians that actually built the platform to begin with. But the thing I've always said about Spotify and most streaming platforms is that it's a great product for the consumer. It sucks if you're an artist, but at the very least, it's good for the consumer. But I can't even say that now because of the inconvenience of age verification and obviously the massive threat to your privacy. To play devil's advocate though, you might be asking the question, does it really matter if you can still listen to explicit music? Well, yeah, because you're still handing over your data and you don't know how that data is going to be used. Even Yoti, which is the company that handles the biometric scanning technology, even if Yoti doesn't have any nefarious intentions, there will more than likely in the future be data breaches and leaks, and all of a sudden your real name, face and address are being shared around the deep web. There's going to be a massive increase in blackmail, scammers, con artists, identity theft, and these politicians seem completely oblivious, having just opened up Pandora's box with the Online Safety Act in place now. The big tech companies are also complicit in this because they still have absolutely no problem with collecting as much of their users' data as humanly possible, especially now they've been given the go-ahead by governments all around the Western world. Look, as a smaller musician that does have his music on Spotify, I'm not just pissed off because I can't show my music to young kids. I don't make music for kids. I'm pissed off because it pushes people to piracy, and I barely make any money off of streaming as it is. And I honestly can't even blame people for turning to piracy. Because, like Gabe Newell said, when he was opening Steam up to Russia and people were criticizing it and saying, well, why would you bother opening Steam up to Russia when Russians pirate all their games anyway? But Gabe Newell responded and said, well, piracy is a service issue. And if you offer these people a better service than piracy has to offer, the convenience of Steam, all of Steam's features, community features, cloud saves, automatic updates, things like this, Gabe Newell was confident that offering a better product will actually sway people away from piracy and have them be on Steam. And it fucking worked. Steam is the biggest marketplace in PC for gaming, and I don't see that changing anytime soon because all of Steam's competition, like Epic and EA, are incredibly anti-consumer. And Spotify is no different. Like, people are happy to pay for a Spotify subscription if all of their music can be in the same place and they have unlimited access to listen to all their favorite songs, because it's the convenience of that service that makes people use it, that makes people more than happy to pay for that subscription. So yeah, it's a service issue, and the service that Spotify provides now is objectively worse than piracy. The 7 Cs have always existed and have always somewhat posed a threat to streaming platforms and the music industry. I mean, look at Napster, for example. But now that convenience and privacy is being stripped away from its users, I really can't blame people for sailing the 7 Cs. And I say that as a smaller musician who doesn't get paid much from streaming to begin with, and I would rather you just listen to my music legally on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever else. But I really can't blame people at this point for turning to piracy. And I'm not gonna pretend like I've never torrented anything before or like I'm above it in some way, because everybody has at some point or another. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Feel free to disagree, but before I sign out, I just want to make a mention of the video I uploaded last week because the algorithm didn't seem to like it very much. It's about payment processors being pressured by a group named Collective Shout into pulling games off of major storefronts like Steam, but it does go into pretty dark topics, so I'm guessing that's why it didn't do so well, but I don't know. The algorithm works in mysterious ways. And that's about all I have to say about the situation so far. Maybe I'll make an update video, maybe I won't. I think the next video I'm gonna have to drop a few white pills, cause like I don't wanna just like bang on about how the internet is going to shit and everything is being censored and with mass surveillance is on the rise. Like, it can be very easy to be black-pilled, but I think there are some developments recently that have actually given me hope with in terms of online censorship, so I will be making a video about the bright side of things, because I think there is hope. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, as dark as it seems, but yeah, the situation we're in currently is kind of shit. So I think we need to kind of remind ourselves not to become demoralized, because there are some good things in the world happening. I know YouTube's algorithm has a negativity bias, but I think, you know, it is worth it to just remind ourselves sometimes that not all hope is lost and things can get better.
Time warps and the world spins, and I just think maybe we're meant to be more than this. All of us disorderly glorious, living the stories taught to us. Instead they torture us, calling us all debaucherous for sticking it to these fucking corporate cunts. Don't wanna be wondering when to be good enough. All of my life and I feel like I'm fucking up, and I'm unable because I'm incapable to just suck it up when nothing is looking up. Blowing holes in your bloated ego like a fucking blunderbuss. On the come up like I'm dropping a 10, strip everything I sedimented. Don't filter me till I'm sedimented. I get the sentiment, we're losing